everything you think you know about survival is wrong. You see, nearly all instruction on the topic revolves around not dying. Our focus is going to be on living. Everybody dies. Everybody watching this right now will die. But for Christians, death is gain, for then we will be with the Lord. Until He calls us home, we realize there is a purpose for our continued existence here. Paul said in Philippians 1:23-24, "I desire to depart and be with Christ, which is far better, but to remain in the flesh is more necessary for you. I want you to have the knowledge and confidence to meet your own needs, so that then you begin to look to the needs of others." This kind of confidence cannot be placed in adequate preparations or sufficient fieldcraft. For as Solomon said in Ecclesiastes 12:12, "There is no end to the making of many books, and much study wearies the body." Instead, my goal is to equip you with an agile and active mind, capable of adapting to the ambiguous environments that you'll find in a survival situation, and resting completely in the peace to be found in the sovereignty of our Lord Jesus Christ. Does that mean we shouldn't prepare? Absolutely not. Proverbs 22:3 and 27:12 say the exact same thing. "The sensible see danger and take cover, but the foolish keep going and are punished." So while you prepare, your preparations should enable you to meet the physical needs of others as a means of addressing their spiritual needs, just as Jesus did during His earthly ministry. Come on inside and we'll talk about some more specifics. Hi. In this episode, we're going to discuss 10 types of natural disasters, where they most likely occur, the major causes and casualties, and some techniques for staying safe. It's important that you know how to prepare and respond to the disasters common to where you live, work, and travel. According to Oxfam, there's been a 400% increase in natural disasters in the past 2 decades. And Ezekiel 7:26 says that disaster after disaster will come. First up, earthquakes. Scientists detect approximately 50 earthquakes every day, or 20,000 a year, but estimate that over 1 million actually occur, most in areas too remote to be monitored. The United States typically has between 2,000 to 3,000 earthquakes a year, though in 2010 that number jumped to about 8,000. Only about 10% of these are strong enough for people to feel, and only 1% produce effects strong enough to cause widespread damage. If you're keeping up with the math, that's between 20 to 80 significant earthquakes a year in the U.S. alone. This is a map of the areas in the United States which are prone to earthquake activity. Earthquakes provide no early warning and are difficult to predict. They can occur any time of day, any time of year. Most casualties are from falling objects, flying glass, and collapsing walls. If you believe you're experiencing an earthquake, get inside. If you're inside, stay inside. Get under or next to something sturdy enough to support the weight of whatever structure is above you. Anything with vertical and horizontal surfaces made out of solid wood or metal will most likely suffice, such as a dresser, desk, refrigerator, or table. If this type of item is not available, stand against an interior wall corner. Do not seek shelter in a doorway unless the structure is constructed from concrete or brick, and even then it should be used as a last resort. If you're outside, move to an open area away from streetlights, utility wires, and buildings. If you're in a car, safely pull to a stop, get out of your car, kneel or lay down next to one of the tires, and cover your head and neck with your arm. Do not remain on bridges. If you find yourself trapped under debris, do not use a flame. Do not use open flames such as a match or lighter, as gas lines may have ruptured. Cover your mouth and nose and try not to kick up dust. Tap on a wall or pipe to aid others in locating you. Tsunamis are large waves caused by seismic activity in the ocean floor. This is a map of the areas in the United States which are susceptible to tsunamis. The seismic activity provides moderate early warning, but the exact effects are difficult to predict. Tsunamis can occur any time of day, any time of year. Most casualties are from swiftly moving debris, drowning, and hypothermia. If you experience an earthquake and live in a coastal region, follow the earthquake guidance during the shaking. Immediately after the shaking stops, get to higher ground. You may only have a few minutes. If you can see the wave, it's likely too late to evacuate, because tsunamis can move at 450 miles an hour in the open ocean. If you cannot reach higher ground, get to the top of a building, climb a sturdy tree, or find something buoyant to hold on to or get in. Stay put after the initial wave comes ashore. There may be additional waves. Hurricanes are tropical cyclones with maximum sustained surface winds in excess of 39 miles an hour. This is a map of the areas in the United States which are susceptible to hurricanes. Hurricanes provide good early warning and are easy to predict. They generally occur between June 1st and November 30th. Most casualties are from collapsed structures, drowning, and flying debris. If you're in the path of a hurricane, your primary response should be to evacuate. If that's not possible, brace the trusses, garage doors, windows, and doors of your structure. Plywood or storm shutters are best, but even duct taping an X across the window is better than nothing. If the high pressure created from a hurricane finds or creates a way into your structure, it could lift the roof off or even remove it from its foundation. During a hurricane, get to an interior room, such as a closet or hallway on the ground floor, but not in the basement. Do not go outside when it gets quiet. You may be in the eye, which can be up to 30 miles wide. You will experience wind and rain effects up to 400 miles from the eye of the storm. Tornadoes are violent columns of rotating air generated when a high and low pressure system mix. Over 100,000 thunderstorms form over the United States each year. Between 600 and 1,000 give birth to tornadoes. Here's a map of the locations in the United States that are prone to tornado activity. Tornadoes provide moderate early warning for the right conditions, but no warning with regard to where it will actually touch down or its path of travel. Tornadoes generally occur between March and August, and a majority of them occur between noon and midnight. Most casualties are from collapsed buildings and flying debris. Indicators that conditions are correct for a tornado include a sharp, fresh smell in the air that seems unusual, hunter green to greenish black color in the sky, hail, a moment of silence after a thunderstorm, clouds that speed by quickly in a rotating fashion, a waterfall sound that gets louder like a train, or debris falling from the sky. If you are outside and see these conditions, get inside or underground. Once inside, get into a windowless interior room, storm cellar, or basement. Get under or hold on to a heavy piece of furniture. Avoid wide-span roofs such as auditoriums, cafeterias, atriums, and gymnasiums. Do not stay in mobile homes as they do not have the sufficient foundation to resist the high winds associated with tornadoes. If you cannot get inside, lay down prone in low-lying areas, sewers, or culverts. Look for places which will provide natural suction, such as mud or bodies of water. Protect your neck and head with your arms and hands. Since you're in a low-lying area, remember to stay alert for flooding. Wildfires are caused by arson, out-of-control open flames, or lightning strikes. This is a map of the area in the United States which historically see the most wildfire activity. Wildfires provide moderate early warning and are relatively easy to predict. They generally start between midnight and early morning. Most casualties from a wildfire will be from burns, smoke inhalation, and falling debris. If you're caught in the open, get into a large body of water. Cover your head and upper body with wet clothing. If a large body of water is not available, get to a location with no fuel, such as a quarry or gravel lot. Cover your body with wet clothing and breathe through the wet clothing. The safest place may actually be behind the fire. Traverse the flames laterally until you find a spot to breach. Do not try to escape downhill. Do not use canyons, draws, or saddles. If you're forced to stay in your structure, close all windows, vents, doors, and non-combustible window coverings. Shut off your gas at the meter and turn off or blow out all pilot lights. Open your furnace damper and close the fireplace screens. Move your flammable furniture into the center of the home away from windows and sliding doors. Place waterproof valuables in ponds, pools, or filled bathtubs. Your goal should be to create a zone of no fuel between you and the fire. Any fuel you cannot remove, you should completely soak with water. An interesting technique is to place running lawn sprinklers on your roof and external fuel tanks. If you're in a structure that is on fire, stop, drop, and roll. Never run while on fire, as it only increases the flame's supply of oxygen. Stay low to the floor as you attempt to exit the structure. Before opening a door, check it with the back of your hand. If it's hot, move to another door. Volcanoes are ruptures of the Earth's crust, which allow hot gas and molten rock to escape. Here's a map of the active volcanoes in the United States. If you're on the East Coast, you may be surprised to see a marker in your vicinity. Volcanoes provide moderate early warning, and the effects are relatively easy to predict. They can occur any time of day, any time of year. Most casualties from a volcano will be from flying debris, burial, burns, and smoke inhalation. Here's a picture of a notable North American volcano before it erupted. Here is the same volcano afterwards. Before, after. Before, after. Any questions? If you are indoors and believe a volcano has just erupted, close and cover all windows, doors, and vents. Cover combustible engines or bring them inside. Monitor the roof for potential collapse from accumulated ash. If you're outdoors during a volcanic eruption, cover your nose and mouth with a wet cloth. Travel upwind and get to the highest ground. Landslides provide no early warning, but we can predict the correct conditions for one to occur. Generally, landslides occur after substantial rainfall, floods, or snowmelts. If there's been 3 to 4 inches of rain per day for several days, or 1/4 of an inch per hour for several hours, the conditions are right for a landslide. Any precipitation event after a wildfire also sets the correct conditions for a landslide. This is a map of the areas in the United States which are susceptible to landslides. Most casualties from a landslide will be from burial and falling debris. If you observe the correct conditions for a landslide and are inside, go upstairs and stay next to sturdy furniture. Do not sleep in the lower levels of a structure, and do not sleep in rooms that face hazardous slopes. If you're outdoors, get to higher ground. If high ground is not available or inaccessible, climb to a high tree, curl into a tight ball to protect your neck and head with your arms and hands. Floods occur when the ground cannot absorb or drain the amount of water on its surface quickly enough. Here's a map of the areas in the United States that are susceptible to flooding. Floods provide moderate early warning and generally follow intense rain or snowmelt. Most casualties are from drowning, rushing debris, and hypothermia. Additional casualties will result from increased insect vectors such as mosquitoes and flies, bacteria, and mold. If outside, get to high ground. If inside, move to an upper level or roof. Don't try to drive through rushing water. If all else fails, try to find something buoyant to hold on to or get in. Do not try to swim. Remember the fundamentals of heat loss and get out of the water as soon as you can. Drought is caused by lack of adequate precipitation. 2011 was a record year for Texas, with the most consecutive days of temperatures above 100 degrees and no rain. Here is a drought monitor map for the United States for the summer of 2011. The areas affected by drought change slightly from year to year, but are generally concentrated around New Mexico, Oklahoma, northern Texas, Colorado, and Kansas. Drought provides excellent early warning and is easy to predict as it is a cumulative effect. It generally occurs during summer months. Most casualties from drought will be the result of dehydration, malnutrition, and stress. Approximately 40% of the world's agricultural land is seriously degraded, requiring the use of artificial fertilizers. The water table in the United States has been slowly but consistently falling. If you find yourself in drought conditions, your primary recourse is to pray for rain. Until God provides water, conserve what water you do have. Take 60-second showers or less. Place a full 20-ounce water bottle in the upper reservoir of every toilet. This will reduce the amount of water consumed per flush. Redirect your gutter and downspouts into rain barrels and wash your dishes and laundry by hand instead of using the machine. You may be a little overwhelmed after reviewing all of these natural disasters. Though we know that natural disasters will continue to occur with increasing frequency as the end draws near, God has not only provided for our ultimate peace through Jesus' sacrifice on the cross, but He has also given us a promise for when times look bleak. Genesis 8:22 says, "As long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, and day and night will not cease." Natural disasters can have widespread devastation, but a new dawn is only a few hours away. Once the event is past, begin the hard work of rebuilding or relocating. And don't forget that many others are suffering, some more than you. Take this opportunity to have real conversations about what we place value in. Share the gospel as a means of securing items of true value, as Jesus did in Matthew 6:19-20. One of the hardest questions you'll have to answer is how a good God can allow such horrible things to happen. We'll cover that issue in the Man-Made Disasters episode. I hope you've enjoyed this episode and gained the skills and knowledge that will enable you to fulfill the Great Commission before, during, and after an emergency situation. As a quick review, the 7 aspects of survival in order are planning, medical, shelter, defense, water, food, and utilities. The phases of survival are preparation, the event itself, immediate actions, aftermath, transition, and sustainment. Remember that survival is a mental exercise played out in the physical realm. Sustained survival is a team sport. Security is an illusion, and people are depending on you, even if you haven't found them yet. Prevention is the best medicine, and ultimately, survival is about moderation and living in that paradox that can often be difficult to find. As 1 Peter 1:13 says, "Set your hope completely on the grace to be brought to you at the revelation of Jesus Christ."